historically speaking, human beings have always tried to picture what they think the future is going to look like. Things change, you know? And people, especially those with vivid imaginations, try to look at trends and look at potential future technologies and imagine a world of tomorrow!
Welcome to the world of tomorrow!
Why do you always have to say it that way?
Haven't you ever heard of a little thing called showmanship?
But the thing about the future is that it will come, eventually, and more often than not, the actual future will not quite look like what the imagination told you it would. Although granted, in some cases, it's actually more accurate than one might expect. Many of these windows into the future were drawn to illustrate what life might be like in the year 2000! Yeah, 2000 was like, for a while, the big year, like, oh my goodness, it's the future! I mean, I was there. I think all of us thought we were gonna wake up on New Year's Day, the year 2000, suddenly all the cars would be magically flying and stuff. Like, it was one of those things. Anyway, but I decided to make a bit of a different kind of video today and go over some of these images I found of people's interpretations in terms of what they thought the future would look like. We'll see how right they were, or how wrong they were. There's a wide variation of potentials here. A lot of these images appeared in magazines, and yeah, this is no exception. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at the tiny little, I think those are supposed to be capacitors, or maybe they're fuses, on the hat here. The idea of a hat that's a radio. Okay. The way they've drawn it is obviously wrong. I mean, I suppose you could make this now, but most people would never be caught dead wearing this. However, the concept of having not only a portable radio, but one you could wear. I mean, I used to own headphones that were, in fact, a radio that I could just wear and listen to the radio. Like, that was a thing. Except they were just the headphones. They didn't require the whole hat. Because a running theme when it comes to imagining the future in terms of old-timey stuff is they didn't really fully understand how miniaturized technology was gonna get and how much data and ability we could cram physically in a very tiny space. And granted, as silly as this looks, it's not too far off in terms of, well, what we can make. There have been radio-capable headphones. Also, streaming, but that's a whole nother story. They generally didn't imagine the internet either. Okay, to be fair, this is a comic book, but I just thought the dialogue was way too funny. What do you say, Space Pigeon? Let's get the old hot saucer and beat sound to Nick's blast in. You're cooking with super atomic radiation, Arky. Okay, couple of things. Space Pigeon. You know, I understand that pet names for your significant others are a thing, but I've never heard of anyone referring to their girlfriend as a pigeon. Space or otherwise. It's just not a bird one associates with that. Also, cooking with super atomic radiation, not just regular atomic radiation, but super atomic radiation. One can assume, therefore, that any of Arky's home-cooked meals will in fact melt your skin off. That's my assumption. This is a nice one. I like this, illustrating Interstellar Travel. I believe that's supposed to be Jupiter in the background, if I had to guess. But my favorite part is the cat. Because you're like, a cat in space? Yeah, you know what? I actually 100% stand by the cats in space. I mean, Ripley had a cat. Okay, she had Jones. Frickin' Data from Star Trek had a cat named Spot. Listen to me. When we do finally figure out interstellar space travel and artificial gravity and all that fancy stuff that we haven't quite gotten nailed down just yet, and we get ourselves off of this blasted rock, hurtling through the mass void, we're taking the cats with us. That's going to happen. I 100% believe that. This is supposed to be a self-driving car. And I hope so, given the fact that no one's paying attention to where it is going. Not sure what the deal is with the, purplish pink electricity. I guess that's the artist's interpretation for how it stays center. I don't believe that's necessary, with a modern self-driving car, but personally looking at this, all I see is an introvert's hell. 'Cause look at the way this is laid out. Unlike a regular car, where you're all facing the same direction, you can kinda look out the window or mess about on your phone or listen to music or whatever, these seats are oriented where everyone is always facing each other. Look, I found the introvert in the family. He's trying desperately to escape this horrid prison that's forcing him to have social interactions. It's not healthy to force it, alright? We don't want to talk to people. People are scary. Also, is this a one-lane road? It almost has to be. There's no way for any other traffic to get by. These old postcards are always great, and they're helpful because they offer descriptions that, if they weren't there, I wouldn't have any clue what I'm looking at. In pursuit of a smuggler. An aerial smuggler. This is some steampunk madness we got going on here. And these cops, I presume, are not playing around. They got their frickin' helicopter bat suits on and everything. Bro's got the revolver out. He is gonna bust a cap in the what's he smuggling? Now, seriously, this is a legitimate question because I don't see anywhere to put anything on that aircraft. Like, there's no room for any cargo. Is he smuggling the plane? Which, I mean, I guess, but also ankle rudder control. Nice. Behold the future of phones! Past, present, future? And, well, to be fair, for a time, sort of, the shape is no. But, before cell phones got super popular, phones did start having the number pad on the speaker and receiver component bit. Like, that was a thing for a while. I think the only thing I could say that's wrong about this is that most of the phones that were set up that way didn't have cords. They were cordless. So this one isn't actually super off. Okay, so let me try to explain this one. So this idea is that in the future, there will be balloon-assisted water walking activities. Like, this will just be a normal thing. You just walk on the water, assisted by balloons, personal balloons. A couple of things. First of all, those balloons, none of them, are nearly large enough to accommodate enough light gases in order to keep a human from sinking. Like, that's not gonna work. Even if there's hydrogen in those, there's not enough room. They're not large enough. No. Following this, how are these water walking shoes working exactly? Because, one of the issues with walking on water, besides the fact that you'll sink, but even if you could get past that somehow, is, a significant lack of friction when compared to the land. Like, it's not so easy to walk on water. And if you're floating, it means you will be even lighter, which means even less friction on the surface. Bro's got his water unicycle out, though. That's a thing. There's a horse on... Okay. No. No for all sorts of reasons. And really, at the point of attaching a balloon to a horse and training it not to fear the water, like, just build a boat. I mean, come on now. In the year 2000... we'll have electric roller skates. And, well, I think 2000 was a little early as far as I recall, but there are some examples of this. People falling on their faces, that hasn't changed. I'm glad they illustrated that part, because that absolutely happens all the time still. There's no amount of technology will ever spare humanity from simple balance issues. It's always the future planes that throw me off, because, like, they never look the same. They always look wrong. This thing would never get off the ground in any real way, mostly because the wings are arced for no reason. That's not the most efficient way to do that, but hey, whatever. Also, why this gentleman is strapped to the plane via string and wire is not something that will ever be properly explained. I would personally not be particularly comfortable with this setup, but I'm mostly concerned with the fact that he's done all of this and gone through all the trouble to take off and everything to chase down and catch a stork. What did the stork do, man, that you had to go through? Storks aren't even, like, pest animals. Like, leave the bird alone. This is harassment. Sir. Don't bother the stork. These are always fun. Your house under glass. Snow, rain, and cold will be banished from tomorrow's lawns by great glass-like domes covering entire houses and lots. You will be able to grow flowers outdoors all year round and gather them in your air-conditioned yard. Yes, it is closer than we think. Newsflash! This new pyroceram has the transparency of glass. It was envisioned for use, therefore, as a rigid weatherproof shelter that might be built up large enough to cover a house and lot. There are so many problems with this that I don't even know where to begin. First of all, does the dome get removed at any point? Because I understand snow, rain, and cold and all that, but that's going to be a pretty impressive greenhouse effect, if I had to guess, during the summer. I understand the illustration is winter, but what about the summer? Okay. Following that, how are you going to keep it clean? You get a few flocks of birds flying over your glass dome. I mean, it's going to get gross pretty quick, and you have to get up there on the dome somehow without falling and clean it off. Otherwise, your property is going to wind up looking a lot grosser than if you had just, I don't know, not cared about the snow and rain that much. Also, banishing rain from your lawn. Rain from your lawn. That sounds like a really good way of not having a lawn anymore. This is obviously completely ridiculous. These women have handheld devices that let them video chat with people at long distance. Absurd. That would never happen. There's no device that I could possibly think of that allows this in the modern day. Le Autorail. So you put a car on railroad tracks, and that's good? What did that animal do? Honestly, based on the way this is illustrated, it seems like the Autorail is it's a really bad idea that's only causing many problems. Everyone's kind of freaked out by it. Granted, there do exist rail vehicles that are capable of going on railroad tracks as well as driving on the road. They're mostly used for utility purposes, so I guess it's not something that didn't happen, just not in this way. A house rolling through the countryside. Yes, for a while they went through a phase of thinking that houses in the modern day would be, like, drivable and you could take them places. And, well, they were kind of right, weren't they? Obviously, the exact specifications and requirements for being street legal are a lot different for a modern mobile home than whatever the heck this thing is. But the idea is the same. I mean, that happened too. This is a correct prediction in the technical sense. A whale bus. Why would... On what... I have a lot of questions and I'm not going to get any answers. Is really where I'm at with it. No. All the no. Whales have much more important things to do. They don't need gainful employment, you know? Seriously, it's always the flying machines. Why do they always look ridiculous? Why are the wings always bent up? No, it's wrong. You wouldn't have known that, I understand, but Man, and I like how a lot of these have all these personal flying machines. Like everyone's gonna own just a set of wings they can utilize. And no, not something we've really gotten to at this point. Getting a human being off the ground. Well, I'm sorry, scratch that. We can make a lot of different devices to get a human being airborne. That's true. A lot of personal devices exist that can do that. It's doing it safely, I think, is the issue here. Because most people are not properly trained or qualified, nor have the sense of awareness to take to the air and not careen into the asphalt below. It's just one of those things. This is an illustration of at-home shopping. It really does serve to show that they didn't really fully get what the internet would be. Because what we can see here is that the saleswoman's on the TV, and the housewife is like, oh yeah, I gotta speak through the microphone and tell her, oh yes, I want that, I'll order that. We don't generally order things this way, long distance. We do it with a lot of clicking. Is generally how it goes. But they weren't wrong in the idea of portraying at-home shopping. I mean, it's a thing. A very, very common thing now. Sir. That's a halo ring. The television newspaper. 20 dead and 15 missing. Someday you may. So maybe, we aren't sure. But you may be able to receive the front page of your morning newspaper this way, fully printed and shown on the screen of a television set. Can it be done? Well, yeah, very, very easily. I don't think it envisioned the modern news media utilizing everyone's favorite talking head offering their own spin on whatever the actual news may be, telling you how you should feel about certain things, instead of letting you decide how to feel about certain things, like normal people. Granted, though, a lot of newspapers have moved it to the online format where you indeed get the front page news on a screen. What? No! Darn you people! Not everyone's gonna have a Segway in the future! That's what these are! Tell me how this particular setup is better than a regular car. I mean, I guess one could argue space saving, since everyone has a literal personal vehicle. I mean, it is taking up less room in the technical sense. Also, it's forcing everyone to stand as they're driving in traffic, and at that point you might as well friggin' walk, and I just don't envision these as being particularly safe. I mean, that's a lot of glass surrounding the body with no crunch area if you get into some kind of accident. Then again, how fast are these? If they're only as fast as a Segway, and I suppose it wouldn't be super dangerous, I just can't see it being this popular to the point that literally everyone has one. Oh, goody. This is good. This is great. This is some crazy, ridiculous nonsense. This is a futuristic interpretation of a railroad, except it's not a railroad anymore. It's a friggin' pinball. Now seriously, that's what they're illustrating here. A giant bubble where the center doesn't turn, but the outside does, and they hurtle you down a track at who knows how frickin' fast, and that's okay. We're just gonna roll on down there, and everyone's gonna walk around. I mean, look at the scale. Look how tiny those people are. This is huge. But honestly, looking at this, I'm just foreseeing it rolling off the track at some point. And if it were to derail, what would be able to stop it? It's just gonna keep on rolling until it finally gets to wherever it's going, whether it be in the middle of someone's house or underwater. What if it rolled into a lake? What then? That would be most unfortunate. No. No, we're not doing this. I have spoken. And with that, a special thank you To all my underwater train finders, some dude 267, Benjamin Owens, Anzac A1, Jack Carson's Railroad Videos, Lord Althor 44, I Surfer 1405, Charles Kwiatkowski, Matt Weaver, Tom Red Lion, Ennis Briggs 8104, Wheeljack 8401, Rescues Greyhounds, Josh Johnson, Killer Brain Waters, Prez Drenton, Master of None, Travis Dolinsky, JBL Explorers, Tommy Rossini, Ben McCullough, Panzer Kitson 131-232, Mark Holding, Mr. Revel, Hayden DeGrow, Kurt Forkum, Harry, Drew Debris, George Kenny, Kevin Wood, Hendrick Motorsports Fan 5, Hannah Bird, Dur Raushi, William Nemo, Dr. Racer 78, Shima Sue, Metal for Life Guy, Andrew Bowen, Crimson Rose, Ryan Wehofer, Zintek M, Boss K, Orange Glass, Andy, Ohio Trucker 1, Windy City Rails, Jean Videola, Extra Special J, Bob Condirk, Jared Brussel, Daryl Williams, DE Ultra, Connor Hahn, Brian Philly, Nathaniel Brown, Liam Wright, Mr. Sleepy, NJ1969, Rashad Austin, Westmost, DFL Church, Profound Punk, The Baxter, Jonathan Coco, Murder Drones Doll, Bad Train Punter Best, Raymond Zabo, AET Museum, Arthur Roy, Caleb Crosswhite, and of course, my dad. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fun farewell.